In this second part of our series on the TWU Honors Program's Travel Abroad video series, we're going to cover staying safe on tour, both money and staying healthy on tour, okay? Staying safe on tour, money and being out and about, and then also staying healthy on tour. So the first thing students are always kind of concerned about is when you travel to a foreign country or to some other city or something like that is, how do I keep from being a victim of the most common type of crime that you see when you visit someplace, and that is theft. People are always worried about things like murder and kidnapping and all these kinds of things, and I guess you should watch your back wherever you go. But to be perfectly honest with you, we always go to Europe, and Europe is an incredibly safe place. There's just not nearly as much violent crime. As a matter of fact, I would probably worry more about taking my students to New York or Miami than I would about taking them to Rome or to Athens or Paris or wherever. The violent crime rate is just very, very small in Europe compared to the United States or other parts of the world. But that being said, they see you coming, they being thieves. When you are traveling to another country, and especially if you're going to Europe, the rings of people who are involved with theft and property crimes and pickpockets, especially scammers, scam artists, are just incredibly sophisticated and very networked. So you have to take good precautions to make sure that your valuables are protected. Now, I'm going to tell you this. We have only had, in all the years and all the hundreds and hundreds of students, we have only had 2 students have their pockets picked while we were overseas, and in both cases it was in the same city, Barcelona. One student had a camera lifted, the other student had her neck wallet stolen from her, but guess what? It's because she wasn't wearing it around her neck. She had it in her pocket. So we're going to talk about ways that you can defend yourself and be smart without being paranoid and ruining having a good time, right? I mean, you don't have to be just obsessed with it. Just do some really good common sense things. Make sure you're attentive and just go about your business and have a great time. But you want to be smart. The first thing you want to know is, I want you to imagine from your chin to your knees, okay? On the front part of your body, this core area from your chin to your knees, that is the area of your body that you are most cognizant of. It's the area where you can see it. You're just very, when somebody invades that space, you know it, right? Somebody comes up behind you, sometimes they can scare the hoo-ha out of you because you didn't realize how close they were. But you know when somebody's close. So I call this the core or the safety zone of your body. And that's where your valuables should be at all times. Not to your side, not to your left side or your right side, not down by your feet if you can help it, not behind you, not in a fanny pack, not over your back. You want it to be, between your chin and your knees in the front part of your body, that central core area. You can see just about all of it except for your neck, and you're just very alert to that area. If somebody gets a little too close, you can tell. People can't sneak up on you like that unless you're asleep. So this is the part of your body where you always, always, always want to keep your valuables. Now, I highly recommend, because I've never met a single person who had anything stolen from them when they had one of these 2 items, I highly, highly recommend, I darn near ought to make it mandatory that you have a neck wallet or a money belt. And you can see pictures of those right over there to your right. The neck wallet, it will be big enough to hold your passport, your credit cards, your cash. You don't have to load it down because it gets heavy and can hang around your neck. You just put it under your shirt or sweater. Some people like this. They like it much better because they can just reach down into their through the collar of their shirt, pull it right out, take care of a transaction, put it right back in there. But the key is, don't have it outside, have it inside your garment, okay? The second option is a money belt. And you can purchase these, by the way, Target, Walmart, Amazon, wherever. I like the Rick Steves ones. If you go to Rick Steves, that's with 2 S's, Steves, S-T-E-V-E-S, Rick Steves, because the quality is better, honestly. They last a lot longer. And try to get one that's made with silk because it's more breathable and it dries, I hate to say it, but you get perspiration and stuff. It's just natural. Washable. right? A money belt like that is slender enough to go around your tummy, and you can put bills in it, credit cards, possibly even your passport if you need to. And in this case, you simply pull up your sweater or t-shirt or sweatshirt and access it. Or if you've got a buttoned shirt, then you just unbutton one button and pull it out. This is why these two things work. They're in the most sort of conscious part of your body. You know if someone puts their hand down or up your shirt. I'm sorry, just unless you're just like asleep, or even then, boy, you're gonna know somebody's there. Now you won't know. Take a look at the upper right hand corner there. If you've got a bag slung over your shoulders, somebody can reach their hand right through the back. Down there across from the money belt, same thing. They can do this all the time. Frequently, as you'll see down in the bottom there, that gentleman right there who's being distracted by a group of people who may come up and be very, very friendly and who might ask questions and these kinds of things. You have to be cognizant. But if it's in the front core of your body, you don't have to worry about them picking it out of the side pocket of your jacket or out of your backpack or something like that, because you know exactly where it is. It's between you and the person talking to you. And it's between your two arms. So they're not going to be able to reach in there without you knowing it, okay? And it's very uncommon for someone to just grab things off of your person and run away. I mean, people, there are easier targets. What you want to do is make yourself a very difficult target, because thieves are lazy. That's why they're thieves. They don't want a job. They don't want to work for a living. So they're going to look at you and say, that's too hard to do. I'll go on, pick on somebody who is a little easier, somebody who's less attentive, somebody who's sloppier. So you just make yourself difficult and they can't do it. But groups of people sometimes will work together on subways. They'll work together on street corners, especially out in front of important monuments where people are frequently, see those guys with the cameras looking straight up instead of keeping their thing. That lady with that purse right there, the guy with the backpack. There's another fellow who's put his backpack down. Guy comes over, sits by it while he's taking pictures, can easily take stuff out of it. You'd be amazed at how adept they are at doing those kinds of things. Rule of thumb, too, is people are friendly, but they're not that darn friendly. You ought to have a little alarm bell go off. People come up to you and ask you all these wonderful, friendly questions right out of the blue. I always get suspicious, it's just kind of I'm 50-something years old. It's just not common that, young, attractive girls come up to me and want to talk to me all the time. It's just, I don't think so. They look at me and say, he's fat, he's bald, we're moving on. So that ought to, it's like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm far too unattractive for you to really be interested in me. What is really going on here? Okay. So stuff like that. I mean, you got to have like this internal thing. If you feel like this is somebody being up to something, you're almost always right. Listen to the little voice inside of you. Okay. So be aware of your surroundings. Avoid street scams. Here's my rule of thumb. It doesn't matter whether it looks like a good deal or not. See the guy down there below in the left with the purses on a blanket? You know why he's got it on a blanket? It's not to keep the purses clean. It's because when the cops come and try to catch the guy selling these things, illegally, mind you, he can grab all four corners of the blanket, throw the backpack, throw the stuff over his shoulder, and off he runs. Okay. Well, if he's willing to sell that kind of stuff illegally, what kind of stuff do you think it is? Okay. Don't buy this kind of stuff. It doesn't mean don't buy things from people on the street with kiosks. Generally, that's okay. But these guys, stay away from it, because I promise you, once you buy it, you're going to take it home, and within a week, it's going to be broken, junk. It's garbage. It really is garbage. So you don't want to buy that. You don't want to buy, DVDs or anything like that from these guys. They're always selling that kind of junk. Stay away from them for the most part. They're just selling you garbage. When you're at an ATM, always go to an ATM with a friend. Make sure that the friend stands beside you or between you and the next person behind you in line. Make sure that that person is shielding the screen. Also, when you insert your card into any kind of machine, if it doesn't feel right, take it straight back out. They have these things called skimmers, and they will read your card if you're not careful. If it feels normal, then that's good. If it feels like it's a little bit wiggly or a little bit tight or it doesn't quite fit right, don't force it. Go on to the next one. Somebody starts crowding you at an ATM, just, let them go ahead of you. and just say, no, be my guest. No, after you, please. Because anybody who's crowding you, they're not there for a good purpose. Anybody who comes up to you and says, can I help you at an ATM, just politely say, no, thank you, but you can go ahead of me if you'd like, because that person's probably not trying to help you. The good rule of thumb is stand together at ATMs, help your friend block other people's view, stand between your friend who's getting money out of the ATM and the person behind them, what have you. Don't let people crowd you. If that's necessary, then if need be, move on to the other thing. You want to always, when we're in a group, we're going to be in a big group. We've got 40 to 50 odd people. And we'll have a local guide who's going to be talking to us. You're going to see me and the other group leaders try to get you to close in as tightly as possible in a circle around our local guide who will be speaking to you. That's for two reasons. One, it's to make sure that you can hear, because we're outdoors and there's traffic and everything. Lose your sense of personal space. Crowd on in together. The second thing is that I and the other group leaders will, and Chris Morrison will be on the outside of our group, kind of listening to our local guide, but making eye contact with people who aren't in our group. That's kind of sort of, I see you, I know what you're doing, don't get too close to my group. I can, we're walking around on the outside. So we call it the donut. Okay, because in the center of the donut is the local guide talking to you, and you guys are the donut, and Chris and I and the group leaders, I don't know, we're sprinkles, I guess, walking around the outside. And that's what we do when because it helps. The more tightly packed you are, the harder it is for them to pick one of you off. Think of them as wolves, and you guys are sheep, and they're looking for the stray sheep who's kind of looking up and got a mouth open and not being attentive, bag over the shoulder. That's who they want. They're trying to find that person. So when you see us talking about the donut, that's what we're talking about. Make sure that you keep copies of your important documents in your checked bag. The checked bag will always be left in the hotel room unless we're getting ready to check out or go catch our plane back home or whatever. It'll be in the bus, whatnot. Keep copies of important documents in the check bag. You don't want to have them on you, because if you lose your passport and the copy of the passport was also in the same bag as the passport, well, duh, that's not going to help, right? Not very helpful. And then a final little word of warning here. Make sure you count your change and check your receipts. Most of the time, people are not trying to scam you, but do count your change, check your receipts, make sure that you make them go slowly. Usually in Europe, they put change in a little dish so that you can see it, so that there's no misunderstanding. That's actually very helpful. In America, we hold our hand out and they count it out to us, or they put it on the counter or something like that. But in Europe, they put it in a dish, and that way you can visually see it. Take your time, don't let anybody rush you, and you'll be fine. There's just a few tips there to make sure that you're staying safe. But the valuables thing in the core area, super, super important. Being attentive to your surroundings as well. Now, when you go out and about and are on your own with free time, there are some things that we want you to be observant of, okay? Number one, always carry the hotel card and a metro and city map with you. When we check into a hotel, we're going to have, everybody's going to get a copy of the hotel card or some sort of map that the hotels usually provide for free, a little bit of city map, neighborhood map, maybe a metro guide, and it's going to have the hotel name on it. That's important because if you need to catch a cab back and you've forgotten the name of the hotel, then you can simply show the cabbie that and you can easily get back to the hotel. It's a great idea to write down the phone number for Chris, who doesn't mind that, on the back of the card as well. We'll go over that when we arrive over there, but you want to do that. Never go out in the evening without cash. You need to have a little bit of cash. You don't have to have a ton of it. Don't go out in the evening without cash. And when you do go out in the evenings, we're going to have a process, okay? We're going to send around at dinner time usually our out and about sheet. Now, this is not because we're going to tell you where you can and can't go all the time, and we're not trying to be your mom and dad. We just need to know if you're going out, tell us roughly where are you going and who are you going with and when do you think you'll be back. There is not a set curfew. Okay, and there are not places that are out of bounds and off limits and all that sort of stuff. You're adults, we know that. The reason we do that is because we need to know if you're not back by a certain time where to start looking for you, okay, in case you're in trouble. And believe me, if you get in trouble, you want us to know where you were going, okay, so that we can come get you. That's very important. When you do go out in the evenings, never, never, never go alone. Always tell someone at the hotel on the out and about sheet, preferably, where you'll be and when you expect to be back. Our rule of thumb is you must travel in groups of 3 or more. must travel with 3 or more. Take a look over on the right-hand side. See those 3 girls right there? 3 of them together. They're having a great time. They're totally safe. No one's going to come up and mess with them. See the girl on the bottom there? She's looking over her shoulder right there. This guy's probably named Serge or Jean-Claude or something like that. He's a real creepy dude. And she's nervous, and you would be too, because he really needs to button his shirt because he looks really goofy. Look at this. Look at the center picture there, huh? There's 3 girls, but they found this guy named Jan, and one of them is really smitten with Jan, and the other 2 are not being good friends. They should shoo Jan away and say, no, where she goes, we go. So Jan, you're not going to be able to take her off, sweep her away to your apartment. No. So those are really bad friends. They're not being nice friends because their friend is just smitten by this European Jan. And of course, gotta be careful these days. I hate to say it because you don't want to ruin people's time, but at the same time, you know what I'm talking about. This guy down on the bottom left may have just put something in this girl's drink. Stay together. Watch out for each other's food and drink. Don't go off on your own. 3 or more. Why 3 or more? 2, it's easy to distract one person. It's hard to distract 2 people. If somebody gets up and does something, don't tell strangers where we're staying. Do not, under any circumstances, invite them back to the hotel. If you want to say, well, here's my, email address, or, I'm going to, friend you on Facebook or something like that. Well, okay, that's fine. That's up to you. Do be careful with what you post online. But at the same time, that's so much better than saying, oh, just come back to the hotel and we'll hang out in the lobby. Bad idea. Don't do that. Don't let them know where you're staying. Go in 3s. 4 is even better. Plus, if you go out in 3s and you got to catch a cab back, you can split the cost of the cab. So it's a little cheaper. But you have more fun that way. Don't wander off by yourself. Be your sister's keeper under all circumstances, okay? Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about staying healthy on tour. We'll have more to say on our departure day, our departure class meeting. But the first rule of thumb is, hey, stay healthy before you go. In other words, the 2 weeks or 3 weeks before we depart, I want you all to be eating a well-balanced diet, getting plenty of rest, making sure that you're eating healthy food, and I hate to say it, but stay away from sick people. I know you want to be, Florence Nightingale, but no, if your nephew is sneezing and snotting all over the place, stay away from him. Put a hazmat suit on or something. Stay away from sick people, because we're going to be on a bus, and we're going to be on a plane, and we're going to be on metros, and it's so easy for one sneeze to travel all the way up and down that tube full of human beings. And so you've worked hard, you've sacrificed hard, you've gotten excited, you'll have done your homework on this. Don't let the flu ruin your tour. Don't let it do it, okay? So you want to make sure that you get healthy, stay healthy before you go. No drug use, obviously. The rule of thumb is no alcohol for those under 21, no excessive use for those 21 and over. Now, if we're walking down the street and we see you in a cafe and you've got a glass of wine, we're not going to go sniffing out and trying to find people who are using alcohol, okay? I'm not going to do that. Call it a don't ask, don't tell, don't care. Don't grab the glass and shove it under the table, okay? That's not cool. But certainly no excessive use on anyone's part, because it's just not healthy and it's not safe. Stay hydrated all the time. Eat quality foods, fruits and vegetables. Every opportunity you get, eat some fruits and vegetables. You need to stay hydrated because you're going to be on a plane for a long time, and that is a real problem for a lot of people. If you don't stay hydrated, you can have some serious health complications, especially being sedentary for all that time, and the air system circulating in there dries you out. You want to eat quality foods because with plenty of fiber, well, we won't go into why, but you can imagine, right? When you're traveling, your whole digestive system is completely off, and you really need to be careful to make sure you stay regular. That can be a really uncomfortable thing, make you miserable. You don't want that. So lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of water, lots of high fiber things. Make sure that you're doing that and staying in good shape. You're going to get plenty of exercise. That's going to be good. We want to make sure that our sleep is adjusted. One thing I do is, as soon as I'm on board the plane that's going to take me across the ocean, whether that's leaving out of DFW or whether we connect in a place like Newark or Atlanta, whichever plane is taking me across the ocean, I immediately set my clock to the local time of where we're landing, so that psychologically I can, imagine myself in that time zone. It's a little trick I use, but it actually helps a little bit. I also believe in taking some cat naps on board the plane as much as you can, so that you're not totally exhausted when we get to Europe. Because we're going to stay up that whole day, that first day. We're not going to bed until after dinner. We're going to stay awake so that our clock gets adjusted to local time. So some naps on board the plane, really good if you can do it. But once we hit the ground, we're not going to go to sleep until after dinner. We'll have an early dinner, don't worry. Make sure you keep copies of all of the medical prescriptions and that you have, and keep the medicine in the original bottles and containers if you can. Don't put like anonymous blue pills in a Ziploc baggie. That'll get you flagged sometimes. Okay, so have the original prescription bottle with the copy of the prescription with you. You want to wash your hands frequently. People say it all the time. You can use hand sanitizer too, but wash your hands very, very frequently. Okay. Alert a group leader immediately if you're ill. Don't wait. Don't say, I'm going to be better soon. I'll be fine. Don't worry about it. If you're ill for whatever reason, let us know. It may be that there's nothing to do for now, but maybe we are able to help you. Okay. Contact one of the group leaders if you need something from the emergency kit. We have 2 emergency kits that we bring with us, and they have just basic over-the-counter stuff, plus some bandages, Band-Aids, antiseptic ointments, Pepto-Bismol, stuff like that, constipation medication, stuff like that. But if you know you have a problem with motion sickness, bring some Dramamine, because we only have so much to go around. We're on a bus a lot on these tours, and you can get motion sickness pretty easily. One last piece of advice on staying healthy on tour is, during our flight, it's very, very important for you periodically, in between your naps, to get up and walk around on the plane. Very important to do that, because if you don't, you can get what's called DVT, deep vein thrombosis, otherwise known as blood clots. Not good. Very serious health problem can happen if you don't get up and move around. So you want to just kind of take it easy. We'll be in this, long flight here, and we're going to be, taking a nap, but just don't stay up listening to music and watching movies on the media system that's on the plane all night. Take some naps when you get up. Walk around a little bit, go to the restroom. It's always a great idea to use the restroom about an hour before we land, for sure, because we don't know how long it's going to be in the airport before we get to another bathroom break. But make sure that you're trying to stay rested and healthy throughout. Okay, so this ends part 2. Please be sure to watch part 3, where we're going to talk a little bit more about money matters and things of that nature.